has also contributed significantly to higher education through his roles in various academic and regulatory bodies. His research interests span condensed matter, physics, magnetic alloys, liquid metal, low-dimensional electron system, quantum dots, and composite materials. He has published more than 120 research papers in reputed international journals and authored 3 books. Over the year, he has guided numerous postgraduate and doctoral students, making valuable contributions to research and education. Professor Ahluwalia has received several prestigious recognitions, including the Commonwealth Academic Fellowship at the University of Edinburgh, UK, the Best Teacher and Academic Administrator Award from Himachal Pradesh University, and the Environment Leadership Award from the Government of Himachal Pradesh. He currently serves as the president of the Indian Association of Physics Teachers, that is IAPT, and continues to play an active role in promoting science education and research across the country. We are truly privileged to have such an eminent scholar and inspiring academic leader with us today. So please join me in extending a warm welcome to Professor P.K. Ahluwalia. It is now my great honor to invite Professor P.K. Ahluwalia sir to address the gathering. Sir, it is over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Swati. Respected uh, Principal Professor U.P. Baghe, Professor S.W. Anwaneji, Professor Pankaj Podarji, Dr. Vikrant Ganvirji, Dr. Hemlata Ganvirji, faculty members, and the participants from various parts of the country and abroad. I think it is the most topical conference or FDP, whatever you want to call it. And it is the need of the hour. Sometimes, it so happens that we don't feel that how things are affecting us. But slowly and steadily, they start overwhelming us. As teachers and researchers, we are finding that now there is no escape from learning artificial intelligence. But the key point, as was being emphasized by Professor Waghe also, is how we are going to use this as a tool. Is it going to surpass human intelligence, or human beings are going to be still the bosses? This is a very, very important question, particularly from teachers' point of view and a researcher's point of view. One of the biggest dangers which is actually uh, looking at us is that these AI tools bring a very different kind of a shift of learning and research. And that shift is that it is going to impact the cognitive, what you call, way of imagining things. And that is what makes a typical subject a subject. For example, physics is physics because we know that what kind of questions we need to ask as human beings and explore the possibilities of cracking certain problems. The danger is that artificial intelligence is today trying to take away the cognitive aspect of learning. People are calling it as cognitive offloading. And we cannot really imagine if we transfer our thinking to a bot of AI and think that it can do everything which we desire. There are certain situations where it will work very, very nicely and algorithmically. But when it comes to taking big leaps of inquiry and understanding unknown areas, we are finding that it may not really match the human ingenuity. I would like to really mention one thing here, and that is this, that when human beings work on a problem, with a very small data set, they can do wonders. Whereas, when we have to work with artificial intelligence, we have to work with a huge data set to arrive at those conclusions. And after receiving those conclusions, you always find that there is a rider written at the bottom that this answer which we are giving may not be correct. Lately, there is a very interesting experiment which is going on uh, in the field of mathematics. So what people are trying to do is that some problems which have not been solved yet in the field of mathematics were identified, and it was made sure that nobody has published anything about these problems in the recent past. And various bots were asked to look at that problem and do it the way a mathematician does it. Means thinking in terms of uh, images which may not be physically available, because mathematicians can always think without any kind of a physical feeling about what they are going to talk about. Sometimes they bring in lemmas, sometimes they bring in assumptions, sometimes they bring in corollaries, and there is a very specific way of giving a solution of a given mathematical problem. I was watching that program, and I was wondering whether at the end of that, what I will hear. And they said very closely that out of the 10 problems which were given for solution, uh, it was found that they were not very close to the answers at all. They were struggling the way as human beings struggle, requiring lot of data and memory for executing that particular task. So when we say that artificial intelligence is going to be solution of everything, I think we should not really get into that kind of a trap. And particularly, as teachers, I believe that there are uh, challenges now to make use of artificial intelligence when we interact with our students. And the challenge is this, that we do not sacrifice cognitive learning in the name of artificial intelligence and engage students into seeking and asking questions. If we will be able to do that, I think AI will be helping us as a tool and not as a boss. I think lots of things are happening, for example, which can help us to do various things with the help of artificial intelligence in the classroom. Uh, and that is a kind of a donkey work which we can transfer to artificial intelligence. But the supreme role of, interacting with the students, letting them understand the things, letting them feel that what is there uh, at the background or at the foundation of what we are actually looking at. I believe that uh, apart from this, there are some ethical issues which are also coming up again and again. We are finding that people are making use of artificial intelligence to write research. And it has been found when people started evaluating the research of the students or the content of a research paper, it has been noticed that uh, not much understanding was available to the researcher or the student who was working in that particular area. And I think that is the kind of danger on which we need to really work. And the need of the hour is that in our universities and educational institutions, whether they are schools or colleges or universities, we need to really highlight these kinds of aspects of artificial intelligence. And we have to learn to live with these challenges. There is no escape. Our students are much faster. They may go out and they may, if you give them a typical problem in a routine way, that solve this numerical problem, I think artificial intelligence will be very fast to help that. But if you will be asking the questions which may be very, very tricky, like for example, I'll give you one very simple example, and that is that when we try to define, say, pressure itself, it is not the first force which decides the pressure. There is something else also which decides the pressure. But that something else, which we call as area, if we hide it from the student and just pose this question in a different fashion, we may put him on a path of inquiry, which is the most important trait of human beings. And I think whatever progress which we have seen today has been a result of that kind of a trait. I'm sure that the content of this particular FTP is enrich your thought process. You will learn AI tools not to rule you, but to help you in various tasks. Maybe sometimes, I remember there was a time when that was in early 70s, people used to do computing. Even, for that, there were what we call mainframe computers available. Even in India, regional computing centers were established at different places. As a physics wala, if I was to go and get a uh, problem uh, solved computationally, I was not really allowed to go immediately on the computer as we go today. I was asked to create a flowchart, explain it to system analyst, and then he will write, say, for me that this is the program. If you know Fortran, please write your program, punch the cards, and then this machine will run. And suppose in that process of writing the flow chart or punching the cards, we had some mistake, we would very easily, go back and try to, struggle with it and see what needs to be done. Today, all those things are stories of the past. What we are finding is that if we are very clear about the algorithmic aspects of the problems, I think we can very imaginatively make use of the artificial intelligence tools. And everywhere you are finding that they are creeping in, particularly on your computer. Even if you open Word, you will find there is a Copilot available. If you go on WhatsApp, you will find Meta AI is available. So, in a very intrusive manner, all these tools are there. It only depends on us how we are going to use it. And I think the purpose of this workshop will be very well served if we are able to engage ourselves on these particular ideas, how to make use of artificial intelligence in a systematic fashion, and to remove the drudgery of doing tasks which can be very easily handled by AI tools, provided we understand the problem. There are some very interesting aspects which are also possible, that if we couple machine learning with some traditional knowledge, for example, in material science, for example, we know that we were able to understand materials very effectively when density functional theory came up. It took some time for the density functional theory to get translated into the computer codes. Now, those computer codes were there, but still computation was very, very costly in terms of memory as well as in terms of time. We are finding now physicists are using this AI very imaginatively in terms of machine learning, and they are able to, make use of a data set generated by a problem in DFT to engage on a wider landscape of that particular problem to arrive at the solutions faster. Structures which are stable, which should be really analyzed further, can be identified very, very easily. I think these are the areas which we need to really talk about, think about, and it should become, in fact, a very important message that AI is not going to replace human intelligence. It is there to help us. And always remember that end line which comes in every reply which you get from a chatbot or any NLML kind of a package, that I may not be correct. I wish all the participants and the organizers a great time ahead. I believe that these kinds of FDPs are very important for sensitizing. And I was seeing there are lots of topics which you have chosen to look at these aspects from practical point of view, from ethical point of view, from exposure point of view. I wish this FDP a great success. And organizers, you have done a great job in bringing a large group of participants here. I hope it's going to really make all of us wiser about the AI as a new way of looking at the problems, but not replacing human beings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening and thought-provoking addresses. Your words have provided valuable perspectives on the role of innovation, research, and emerging technologies in higher education. As we approach the conclusion of this inaugural session, I now invite Dr. H.V. Gandhi, a convener of the FDP, to propose a vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. A warm good afternoon to one and all present.